Reporters were summoned to a Pentagon briefing aimed at proving the extensive damage to the key Iranian nuclear site. But for Secretary Pete Hegseth, the main target was the media.
You, and I mean specifically you, the press, specifically you, the press corps, because you cheer against Trump so hard. It's like in your DNA and in your blood to cheer against Trump. Because you want him not to be successful so bad, you have to cheer against the efficacy of these strikes. There are so many aspects of what our brave men and women did that because of the hatred of this press corps are undermined because people are trying to leak and spin that it wasn't successful.
Rich, why would Pete Hegseth make bashing the media the centerpiece of a briefing that was called in order to convince people and the media that the airstrikes utterly demolished the Iranian sites?
Well, he's a Trump cabinet secretary, so part of his job is to be a fierce defender of Trump and push back against the media. And he's very good at it. And the guy's obviously a tremendous communicator. And the administration was justifiably, I think, irritated by how CNN and the New York Times jumped on this defense intelligence assessment, low confidence report, initial hours when there's no way to really know the damage assessment. And the more serious sources, I think, say there's more serious extensive damage than this report gave the attacks credit for. So obviously with Trump, everything is the biggest and best success ever. He's not always right about that, but I think he's certainly more right about this question than that report was.
Liz, who do you think those anti-press comments were aimed at? Who was the audience for saying you all hate Trump and that's why you want to tear him down?
I don't know. You know, I would take a little bit of issue with what Rich just said. I don't think that Secretary Hegseth was good at communicating there, because if you noticed, and I went back last night and I watched the whole 48, 49-minute conference, and, you know, it was like he was ready. If you notice, he kept looking down. He had a script. He was ready to go on attack. And when he went after Fox News' Jennifer Griffin, if you notice, she asked a question that was a follow-up to another reporter's question, which was actually quite not magnanimous, but it was very calm, saying, well, wait, can you just address what the previous reporter asked about those satellite photos that showed a bunch of trucks 2 days before the B-2 brilliant bombing attacks, by the way, and he just got extremely triggered, and he said, Jennifer, you're the worst. It was like, insert reporter's name here who challenges me, and he seemed to have a very sensitive nerve that was somehow touched by reporters who were simply asking questions. And I also noted that he even contradicted himself. He said nobody knows what really happened because, of course, if you need to know, you need to get a big shovel and get in there. Nobody's on the ground there at the moment. We shall see. Nobody is questioning the brilliance of our pilots and the brilliance of the mission and how well it was pulled off by President Trump and General Kane. Maybe leave these types of news conferences to the generals who are calm, collected, and almost professorial in explaining things to the press. Pete Hegseth was ready, I don't know for what, but he really kind of got triggered there, and I think it didn't help. It made it look like he wasn't ready to answer a question that was quite obvious.
Well, even many journalists at rival networks have praised Jennifer Griffin's fairness. But, Rich, does Hegseth and the president have a point? Are there many journalists, news outlets that are trying to tarnish his success? I don't think a rational person, objective person would deny that it's been a pretty good 10 days for the president because they can't stand the guy.
Yeah, no, I think in broad gauge, Hegseth is right. A lot of reporters can't stand the guy, and it colors what they do. And in terms of this defense intelligence assessment, it's not as though CNN and New York Times made it up, right? It was newsworthy, but there wasn't enough emphasis, at least initially, on the low confidence of this report. And just both sides, you know, they're critics in the press who are invested in the idea it must be a failure, and their Trump supporters in the right-wing media invested in the idea it has to be a success. So you got to go to neutral sources like David Albright, this nuclear scientist who's got a lot of attention, been out there a lot over the last 12 days. And he says there's significant damage, probably thousands of centrifuges destroyed or rendered inoperative, and it's probably set back the program for years.
Yeah, I think Democrats would be saying this was the greatest victory of all time if it had happened under Joe Biden. Liz, here's another posting from President Trump. Fake news reporters from CNN, the New York Times should be fired immediately. Bad people with evil intentions. In my view, this goes well beyond his previous rhetoric.
President Trump should take the win, and what a win it was. This was a mission where, I don't know, 38,000 things could have gone wrong, but they did not. These B-2 bombers flew from Missouri to Iran undetected and hit a tiny target the size of a washing machine. I mean, the president just said during Sunday Morning Futures, the size of the door of a washing machine. And it went brilliantly and it went beautifully. And so to take that and figure out that people are just simply asking follow-up questions, Howie, I don't know, he should just take the win because he sent quite a strong message to not just Iran, but any country with leaders who hate America. We're coming for you.
Rich, I've got about a minute. You know, the fake news attacks of the first term seem pretty mild now compared to threatening to sue these organizations, threatening to make them give up their sources. So this is quite deliberate and orchestrated, is it not?
The war against the media has reached a different level. And look, it's just not his nature just to take the win, right? If there are critics out there, he's going to push back and try to smash them, punch twice as hard. That's just what he does.
Mm-hmm. Take the win. That's often pretty good advice. Liz, a quick final thought?
My final thought is sue for what? I mean, you know, it's not defamation. They were asking a question about an assessment. Kelly O'Donnell tried to make that very clear. She was just asking for an assessment as a follow-up, which is what reporters do, Howie.
Yeah, that's what reporters do. Doesn't always make us popular. Rich Lowry, Liz Claman, thank you so much.